here. Thank God that is behind me. Shit, it was a hell of a weekend on the fucking doing my trip to Las Vegas. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys for tuning in. I have a special guest here, Patrick Fowler. He is Patrick Fowler, the Midnight Prowler. Do you still go by that at all?
No, if you want.
Thanks for coming, bro. Really appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me.
We were going into some good conversation prior to the podcast, and I was like, dude, we wanted to talk, some personal stuff. I've known Pat for quite some time. We just haven't really we haven't hung out with each other like that. We've just known each other through family, friends, and hung out at several places back in the day. So now as adults, I'm a fan of his because he does great comedy. And I've been asking him to come up here. We just kind of been missing. And we were talking about some good stuff, and I kept covering my ears like, oh, man, I don't want to hear about it because it's some good stuff. So we are here, and I have so many questions to ask you. And I know that you have to work early in the morning because this guy's a workaholic. He does stand up. You have a work job. You have a kid. You have a significant other.
Yeah.
And you go to school.
Yeah. Got a lot going on. Keeps me out of trouble.
No shit.
Yeah.
So, is it hard to balance all this stuff and be a comic?
It's frustrating that I don't get to do comedy as much as I want to do because of all this adulting.
I know 100% what you're saying.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I mean, it gets a little frustrating because I really want to do more comedy, and that's like really what I would like to be doing. But at the same time, like, I have this like internal feeling to like be an adult and like finish school and just like get things in order, like just have a resume of like things,
You have to have that. I mean, you say an adult thing, but it's a survival thing too, man. We're living in a pretty aggressive time in our lives where if you're not aggressive, you could end up living in a podunk area where, the cost of living is very, very low. But again, you don't have the amenities that you can get. And there's all kinds of things when you add kids and a significant other to it. So
it's busy. I mean, gotta have money,
Yeah, you have to.
And when you're doing comedy, it's like I don't think people realize that you don't get paid dick to do comedy. Really, you don't. It's all just like a fake it till you make it thing. You just keep doing it, and then you do it. It's like therapy for me, really. You just go on stage and then you share like how you view the world, I guess, and people laugh because they relate or something. Like being a parent. That's I've been changing a lot of my material that when I do comedy about like what my real life is like, rather than just stupid bar jokes. I used to just tell a joke about like, I had a prostitute die in my hotel room. Oh, the good news is the second hour was free, and then, but those kind of jokes don't really.
I know. It was, it's a chuckle joke. It's a laugh. Well, not only
that, people believe you when you're on stage. Whatever you say on stage, people believe you, and so when I'm like telling a joke like that, then like at the very least, people go, oh my God, that guy gets hookers. That's gross. Like, ooh. Mm-hmm. And then they don't like you or whatever, and then they judge you or whatever. When you're like, it's just a joke, but the more you do real material, like talk about my son and how funny it is to be a parent, and like how immature I am, that I'm like at his same level, and I've been sober for a couple of years, and just the things that happen at meetings and when you get sober, and that's just my real life stuff that I think's funny. So then I write it down, and then if I have a chance to perform, I'll go up on stage and I'll talk about it. But right now, like I said, I mean, I've got school Monday, Wednesday, pretty much 9 to 3 or 9 to 4, and then I'm working at a rehab, on Tuesday, Thursdays from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, work at the restaurant, where that's hard to get out of because that's like $600-700 a weekend. Just, it's like stripper cash. You just can't walk away from it, So, I mean, I'm real busy. And then meanwhile, I have a kid. I have a 10-year-old like wandering around somewhere. So I'm like, oh yeah, I got to be a dad too, So I'm busy, and I know what it takes to be a successful comedian. I don't have a manager. I don't have a booking agent. I don't live in LA. I don't give a shit about any of that right now. I'm just I'm just doing other stuff right now. And so I don't know.
You doing Pat?
I'm doing Pat. Yeah, staying out of trouble. like I said, man.
There's nothing wrong with that, man. I mean, again, but I see where you're coming with the quandary. Like, let me get you my aspect from it so that we can kind of touch on that. I hear your point of view because I have this podcast and I run a soap company. And the soap company is, a 50-year-old business that's international, and we're trying to really, really grow. We have huge overhead, and I have this urge to do. I don't know what it is. Why I have this urge to do this podcast. I used to cover like professional motocross racing, but only not as a professional, just amateur. Go into the races, finding a script of what I wanted to ask them, and going and asking the questions, and just going all the way around and asking guys like Hart, which got pulled off fucking YouTube because I don't know. I guess he owns all his own content for his name.
This whole time you've been talking, I was wondering if you were going to offer me soap, because I want some, if you have some around here.
All I have is from 1997, I started a business, and I still have I used to make bong cleaner. In fact, I had met Cheech and Chong.
Yeah.
I met Tommy Chong at the ASR show? No, CTS show in Vegas. I came up to him. I said, my friend Billy wants to say hello to you, Billy Santos. And he grabs a phone and proceeds to walk around the convention center talking to Billy on my phone. And then he's got this mob of people, and it's the funniest interaction, And so that's my story with him. But yeah, I have a bunch of that stuff left. And it's great for cleaning grout, by the way. Yeah, the grout. There's a grout guy I give it to. He loves that stuff.
Dual purpose cleaner.
Yeah, I have all kinds of stuff I can give you. Not here. I don't have any soap stuff here, but you can come by the shop.
I have extra dry skin. I have psoriasis right here, so I need some moisturizing stuff.
Oh, my shit will not moisturize. Mine will just take all your oils right off your body.
I'll still use it if it's free. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So there's this thing about, and it's funny, the podcast, I'll do a podcast and then I will talk to somebody and they'll bring up exactly what I just got done talking on a podcast about time. Like there's never enough time. There's always a schedule for us to be somewhere. It doesn't matter because you have so many connections and friends, so many birthdays, so many parties, so many quinceañeras or weddings or this and that, or just not to mention, like you just said, my normal fucking schedule.
Especially quinceañeras, a lot of them. No, you know what? I actually when I was listening to this is so stupid. I was watching Tony Robbins, right?
On the Netflix?
Yeah,
the new one that came out.
Yeah,
I liked it.
The Transform Your Life.
Yeah,
thing,
it was good.
And I'm like, this guy's a fucking clown. And then I'm watching it, and I'm like getting pulled in, and he's saying some really good things that I totally buy into, right? I subscribe to some of his stuff, he was saying that a lot of people have the 1 year plan or whatever, like New Year's, and they have the resolution. They're like, I'm going to do this year, I'm going to do this, but nobody really thinks about the 5 year plan, which before you know it, if you just kind of have goals towards what you're trying to do and you just reach them every day, 5 years goes by, and if you just are on the ball doing what you're doing each day, then before you know it, your 5 year plan. And that's what I kind of came to this realization also, being sober for a couple of years and working at a restaurant, and you make okay money. I know a lot of people that get stuck in the restaurant bartending or whatever, and they make good money in tips, and they get stuck there for a long time. And I'm sitting here watching these younger kids, 20-year-old kids that are working at the restaurant. They work there. I mean, I've been at this restaurant for 6 years, right? So in the first 3 years, I'm watching these kids come in, make their money, but meanwhile going to school, and then 3 years goes by, and then they're done with school, and then they're an architect somewhere, and they're making money somewhere, and I'm like, what have I been doing this whole time? I could be going to school. And so then that's how this all came about, and I recently started going back to school. I just never had a direction, but since, like I said, it's been a couple of years, I've found myself, when you're in an AA program, 12-step program, or whatever it is, you find yourself helping people. You find yourself, getting sponsees or whatever, and that's what the 12-step is you help another person. You give back what was so freely given to you. And so I've been doing that a lot, and then a lot of people were coming to me and being like, man, these people are relating with you. You're doing a good job with them. You have a way with people, and I think the whole trick is just being genuine and just being honest about what you've gone through, and I don't know what you're going through, but this is what I went through, and this is what I did, and this is what didn't work, and this is what has worked so far. And then, you know, so a lot of people are like, you should go into that industry and work in recovery and da-da-da. And I'm like, that sounds stupid. But then I'm like, you know what? I do want to go back to school. So that's what I did. I went back to school like last year and working towards getting that, you know, the certified drug and alcohol counseling.
Do you have to go through a private school, or do you go through like a community
No, there's
college?
a drug and alcohol program at Cypress College and at Cal State Fullerton. So kind of go to both, and whatever, it is what it is. And it's.
Do you find school hard now?
No, dude, I'm a fucking straight A student. Swear to God, dude, I have a 4.0 ever since I've returned to school.
Now, do you find that you appreciate school a little bit more now as an adult, as the adult in you has to come out?
Absolutely. You know what's weird is my whole goal in high school was just to pass without doing shit. That was my whole goal.
Just get by.
I would just be like, yeah, watch, I'm gonna graduate and I won't do shit the whole time. That was like my goal. Little did I know that comes to bite you back when you're 30-something years old, and you're just like, why did I do that? You know, who was I impressing? You know, but now, yeah, I'm in school. It's funny. They tell you to read something. You just fucking read it. And then you get to class and they have a quiz on it. And you nail it because you read it.
But you're not going through adolescence as an adult. And as an adolescence, you have all those chemicals. You got all this shit. You get the rebellion. You're really trying to break apart from your family who's fucking told you to dump the trash and mow the lawn and clean up your room. And you better brush your teeth. And you got to get to school on time. Blah, 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 blah. Till you get to this point where you start to grow some hair in your nuts. A little bit of testosterone comes out. And you're like, fuck everybody.
Yeah. I mean, or the fact that I have a 10-year-old child and I am forced to be the grown-up now, so I guess it's like to be setting a good example or something now, you know. But
well, of course.
I mean, but my son watches my YouTube videos, and I get in trouble when he does that because he tries to like imitate. He like totally fucking.
Oh my god.
He screws up the jokes, but he just gets the like F word right or dick or something. I said cock in one of my jokes, and he repeated that somewhere, and it was not.
Now, let me ask you a question. Okay, but there must be just a little bit of flattery in that. I mean, just a little bit. I mean, obviously, you're saying you don't want him saying shit like that, but there's got to be a little bit of something like, oh, my son really kind of digs who I am.
No, he does, and he wants to be like a YouTuber, and I was like, no, don't do that. And he's like, well, I would be a comedy guy. And
there's
like,
some kids who are 10 years old who fucking can't stand their father.
Yeah,
there's some.
I guess.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's all about perspective, I guess.
Yeah,
how to look at it. But
yeah,
I'm lucky.
Yeah, and at least you can kind of get it. It can come from the horse's mouth to, hey, look at this is what you got to do as an adult. Da, 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 whatever you tell them, you know, whatever your protocol is for.
Yeah, well, there's some red flags going on with his video gaming. He, you know.
Maybe I need to be in that same.
I don't know. I'm an addict, and I have addictive personality, and that's why I've been sober for a few years because I have to maintain that on a daily basis to make sure that I'm not getting into bad situations. Then I see him addictively playing video games. If I didn't go up and check on him, he would be playing games for 10 hours straight, all day, every day. You know,
that would be me. I have a problem with it, bro.
Yeah.
No, I mean literally, there's two things I have a problem with that are really, really bad. That I have never checked myself in any kind of like hospital for, but I just think that it'd be ridiculous if I did. But sugar is one, like really ridiculous.
That's
sugar.
acceptable.
It's not because it could be life threatening. And the second one is video games.
Well, I'll tell you what, sugar. Yeah, it's like a silent thing that people don't talk about because it is bad.
And the video games are fucking my eyes up because I'm 45 now, dude. And my eyesight in the last 2 years has taken a dramatic shit, and that's when I got my fucking PlayStation 2 years ago.
Video, I'm reading things that say that video game addiction, social media addiction, just digital addiction is becoming one of the like high ranking things to be put into rehab for. You know, electronic.
Fucking A. Wow.
Wasn't that Timothy Leary that said that the next biggest drug is going to be electronic?
Really?
Yeah. Timothy Leary in the 60s.
Well, now, Oculus Rift. Have you ever had it? Have you ever tried that?
No.
Okay.
Should I?
I'm going to go buy one, and then you come back.
Oculus Rift?
Yeah, you come back, and we're going to do it.
Is that a relapse?
It's my buddy just bought it. It's the VR goggles that are on fucking super steroids.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he said he put them on. And they really have to custom tailor it for you, you know, so you program. But I don't have a problem setting them up for you when you come here. He says you can interact with one another. But dude, I watched him.
Is there porn? Is there?
That's the first thing I talked to him about.
Yeah.
But he says beyond the porn, like really beyond the porn. He says it's unlike. He says it's a different.
Porn.
He said it's a different reality. He said the reality is so different. This guy's a millionaire, right? And he's sitting there swinging his arms around. He's got these little grips he puts on, right? And he's all, look at the screen. He puts it on a screen. He's all, look at me. And he's got these hands, and it's articulating his motion. He can pick shit up on the screen and do shit with it. He's like, watch. He picks up this glass and throws it at a wall and goes, ksh, and I'm like, whoa.
Damn.
But in his
I
view,
get into that.
yeah, that's the problem. But addicted to.
I hate video games.
Do you really?
I mean,
I play one. I'm addicted to one.
Which one do you play?
The Modern Warfare.
Like the
Call of Duty, Modern Warfare.
Yeah. That's my kid probably kills you a lot online.
I'd probably kill him too.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, there's 12-year-olds that I have battles with.
I swear I don't know what it is. And that's like his thing. He wants to bond with. He's like, Dad, let's play Metroid, because I have an Xbox that has a chip where it has like all the Nintendo games, right, all the old school ones. So I'll play the old school Nintendo games with them all the time. You know, Super Mario Brothers 3, Metroid, Mega Man 2 is like my favorite game to ever play. You know, it's whatever. But he wants to play all the time, and I just don't want to play video games. I'm like, no, like, I don't want to be a dick and be like, nah, video games are fucking stupid. Stop playing them. But then that's not what I say. You know, I'm like, no.
It'll crush him.
Yeah, it'll crush him.
It really will.
But he loves it. He's good. He's a smart kid, and whatever. I don't know. Whatever. I want him to play golf. I want him to play ice hockey and stuff like that. But like, as a dad, you don't want to push the child into doing something, because then he's gonna.
You curb them.
Yeah.
Bink, bink, bink. Until before you know they're doing other things. But you know they can always like video games. But that's good that you do that, man, because they are dangerous.
He looks up to me. So I'm on an adult ice hockey team for the restaurant I work for.
And you do ice hockey too?
Yeah, well, I've played for my whole life pretty much. But then it's funny because the restaurant that I work for, they sponsored the team, so I'm like, fuck, I don't play ice hockey for sure. But so we get into an adult league, and that got me quit smoking cigarettes. Like in January, I quit smoking cigarettes.
Congratulations, brother.
Was, it was because of that league, you know, because you get out on the ice and your head thinks you're 15 years old again. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go out here and do this, and then like your body's like, no, dude, you're like 36. You smoke a pack a day. You're out of your mind. Get the fuck off. Change it up, you know. So then. Eventually, you know, as the weeks went on, I quit smoking in January, and then weeks went on, I was getting more and more endurance out there, and it was a good workout, getting a good sweat, and I'm like, damn, this is back to old school.
The endorphins?
Yeah.
Kicking in?
Fuck yeah, man.
Feeling a little testosterone boost, kind of a little bit, right? Definitely a little testosterone boost. You gotta
find those new chemicals coming from other ways, you know.
Right, pituitary and shit.
Get them all released.
Now, have you ever done any research on DMT and stuff like that?
Yeah, I smoked DMT when I was out running and gunning.
Okay. 15 minutes, Dougie Fresh kind of thing, or what?
Yeah. I'll tell you right now. In sobriety, it's very important that you have a connection with some sort of spiritual higher power, right? And a lot of people use God and, you know, this and that, and a lot of people use the universe or whatever it is. I will tell you right now that I am 100% sold on a higher power of some sort in the spiritual, because I'm more spiritual than religious. I'm not religious at all, actually, but I'm spiritual because, and I hate to like say this, but because of an experience I had smoking DMT one time. And it was mind-blowing in a sense where you can't even explain to people. All I can explain to people was, after I blew this out, I put it on top of some weed and I smoked it in out of a bong. And after I blew it out, I looked out the window and I was like, the sky kind of got a little dim, and I looked around the room and I was sitting there with my cousin or whatever, and I went and touched the wall, and I was touching the wall, and I'm like, okay, this is like solid molecules. And then I went and touched my cousin's face. I'm like, these are living molecules. And then I like had this huge like epiphany that I am so small in the big picture of things, like the universe and how big it all is, and how small and how, I don't want to say insignificant my life is, but reality is, how insignificant I am in the big picture. that it's unexplainable how ridiculously huge and infinite the universe is. And all that came in about 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden, the craziest thing was it just went away. And I was just like dead sober, like after 10, 15 minutes of being literally peaking at some ridiculously high spiritual hallucination level. 10 minutes later, it's gone, and I could just go. I'm like, whoa, I could drive a car right now, like no problem. 10 minutes ago, there's no fucking way I would even think about it, you know? So, yeah, dimethyltryptamine, it was,
Wow.
It was an experience that I definitely would suggest, but not suggest to people.
I get it.
I'm in a drug and alcohol field where I'm like trying to help people like recover from drugs and alcohol, and I'm sitting here saying like, no, smoke DMT. Fuck yeah, do it, you know?
Yeah, but there's a lot of things that are going to change in the next 5 or 10 years. I mean, look at how many trials are going on with LSD and mushrooms with the PSD that's going on with soldiers.
Yeah.
They're using psilocybin to cure these guys with that stuff, and ecstasy. Like, but in trials types of, I mean, you're talking about very stringent laboratory type conditions. You're talking about measured doses. You're talking about, you know, they even do it against with placebo effect to find out if this stuff even works.
Yeah.
So they're doing full trials on this stuff.
I don't doubt it.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
Government funded. Isn't that weird? It's back into flow after 25 years of being illegal to do it now because they cut off all funding to it.
you said, is that weird? Nope. Not weird. It's totally normal.
Isn't that weird?
It's that's cool. I mean, that's a whole nother topic, and that's what I'm in school for right now. Like it touches on mental health, mental health, addiction, human services of sorts. Like domestic abuse, child abuse, and it touches on all this stuff.
Do they bring up diet?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the curriculum to kind of touch on. I mean, we touch on not only nutrition of sorts like that, because it's a lot of addiction and stuff is environment and what you hang around with, what you eat, and all that stuff. But even as far as I had to take an ethnic studies class, which was kind of funny in a sense because it was American ethnic studies and American culture and how it became to what it is. And I was like the only white guy in the class. And literally the whole class is about how fucking shitty white people are. Like the teacher's like, and then the white man came and did this. And then the white man came and I'm like, yeah, that white man sucks. That guy sucks, dude. Fuck that guy, dude, right? So it was difficult, but I got an A in that class and it was one of the hardest classes I ever took. But it was because I found out the secret to school. I found out what it is, and this is my advice to anybody that has anything to do with anything: show up and participate. That's it. That's my quote for the night. Pretty much, anything you want to do, you show up, you participate, and you never know what the outcome will be. And for me, it's been pretty positive. So, there's a lot of talking about things, but if you show up and participate in what you're doing, it could be wonders. And that goes in for people trying to get sober as well. I tell them the same thing. Go to meetings, show up, raise your hand, be involved. You show up, you be involved with something, you'd be surprised the outcome of certain things. Yeah,
I put a quote out. I did a drawing one time, and it's the quote. I forgot who wrote or said the quote. It's luck is when opportunity meets preparation, or preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah,
that's what luck is. And I was telling that to Lalava. She's my co-host, and I was like, hey, let's just go to Vegas and fucking cover wherever we can of this fight with as little money as we can. Like we're not going to go buy a $3,500 fucking boxing ticket, but we can go.
Is that how much tickets were for that fight?
That's what they're going for. These two ladies get in. You guys looking for tickets? We're like, yeah. She's like, how much you want to pay? We're like, well,
nothing.
How much are they kind of going for? She's like, well, we're asking $2,500. And I was like, we're like in board shorts in the fucking coming from the pool, like, honey, you got $2,500 on you? She's all, it's $1,000 under what they're asking, and I was like, we're good. It was just funny how there's just, I get it.
Everybody making money on that.
They weren't even sold out, Pat.
They weren't.
They weren't even fucking sold out. So people, I get it, but I had fun. Listen, we watched it from her friend's house in Vegas, big screen TV. I recorded it. Fuck it, we're good.
Mayweather, McGregor, $100 million each.
350 from what's his name?
Really? For Mayweather?
Mayweather made $350 million on that.
Do you know how many dicks I'd suck for $350 million?
Maybe one.
350. Probably. Like at least.
Oh, 350. Yeah. There's about 350 of them would be all sucked down. Oh my God, dude.
I keep drinking coffee. I got to work at 7
Yeah, I know. I'm going to finish off mine too because I have some questions for you. So,
It's all good.
So, what made you want to become a comic? You mentioned something earlier off air. Johnny Carson was a huge guy.
I wanted to be Johnny Carson. I wanted to do exactly what he does or did. I mean, and then I watched Jimmy Kimmel, and I was like, oh, I want to do what he does. And then I went to a live taping of Jimmy Kimmel one time, and it was like before Always Sunny in Philadelphia came on because Charlie Day was a guest on that, and I was like, I'm going to take that guy's job. I haven't yet.
Was Jimmy Kimmel ever stand-up?
Yeah, I think he was.
Was he?
I think he was. Pretty sure. I don't know, actually. I can't say that he was, but I just, when I was younger than that even, I also loved Saturday Night Live, like in the Chris Farley, David Spade, Dana Carvey, Mike Myers days, Chris Rock. And I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. I want to be on that show. And then it's just weird to remember because I feel like internet wasn't even around then, but I remember looking it up somehow, like how do you get on Saturday Night Live? And I remember distinctly seeing that you don't get on Saturday Night Live, like they scout people. I was like, well, how do they scout people? And they go, they scout people in comedy clubs. That's where they go. They scout people for auditions. So then I was like, oh, so I got to be a comedian to get scouted? And then I kind of looked into it a little bit, and that's how that kind of started. Just started doing open.
And how old were you at that point?
I don't know, 20-something.
So young 20s.
I mean, I didn't start doing comedy until 20-something, but I came up with that thing when I was like 16, 17, you know, like in high school. And then, but you keep that secret for some reason because it's a pipe dream that like you just don't want to be embarrassed. Like, oh, I want to be a famous this. And then like, so then you tell somebody that, they're like, okay, guy. Which still to this day is still that, you know, it's still like, I mean, everybody like says,
fuck people who
follow
piss on
your
dreams,
you know,
man.
follow your dreams, but you're like, okay, but here's the thing, like I was never good in high school with anything because I just didn't give a shit. I was fucking high all the time. But I always thought, what was I good in high school? Like after high school, 20 years old, right? 21. I was like, what was I good in high school? I'm like, well, I got class clown at Dwight. I got class clown at junior high. I got class clown in high school. My dad got class clown at his high school. I was like, maybe I should just be a fucking clown, you know, which translates to maybe doing comedy, I guess. Something to do with it. And I tried doing it, and then it took like a couple years before I had like a good set, like a good 5 minutes where the whole thing went really well. And I had it on video, and it was just so crazy when you do well on stage for the first time, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm going to do this for sure.
Now, my perception of a class clown usually is the person who's more outgoing. He's definitely a extrovert. He is not afraid to put his opinion out there. And besides being kind of a goofy and a laugh, he's got some serious shit behind who he is. There's some serious shit that's gone down in his life that's not all fucking fun and games with that guy. That's why I've always liked the class clown, and that's why the class clown has always been kind of earmarked that, which I think is the wrong connotation. They should come up with a fucking different name for it, because it...
Dude, are you my therapist? You just nailed me, like, straight. Successfully troubleshot the camera.
It's shot. Okay, well, we can land the plane anytime you want. We've been circling around. We did a few flybys. We can land the plane anytime you want. Oh, you know what? This is what I'll do. I'll basically kind of share with you where I'm coming from on this. So, my stepdad, David Bevins, he was a professional comedian for, I don't know, a long time. And it's funny, earlier when you were talking about being a professional comedian, or you didn't even say professional comedian, you just said to go after the craft, to be a comedian. My friend asked me earlier, is he a professional? And I said, well, I think he's a professional. Does he get paid? And I was like, well, I don't know, but
I get paid.
Well, no, not does he get paid? is that how he makes a living? And I said, well, does that determine whether he's a professional or not? And I said, not really. I said his preparedness, what he goes after. He's been on different shows and TV. He plays big venues. To me, regardless if he's making a living off of it, he's a professional. That's how I looked at it.
I just thought, it's so weird you brought that up. I was just thinking about that myself. Like somebody said that at my work or something. So because I get a lot of the other waiters and stuff to come to the shows, and they're like, there was like a new employee, and they're like, oh, it's Patrick, he's a comedian, like a professional comedian. And I was like, I don't know, like that's kind of and I thought about what is a professional, and it's somebody that gets paid for their craft. Really, that's what a professional is. And so it's kind of gray area, but I do get paid pretty much every time I do it now, and it's not like I get paid a lot because I don't get a lot of gigs now. I don't have the fan base, and when it comes to like the venue that I do it at,
really,
they really want butts in the seats. That's it. They want butts in the seats. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm a good promoter also for my shows. I'm a good hype man, you know. I'm not as good as McGregor was, but I can get people in the seats, you know, and that carried me. I was doing a monthly show for a long time, you know, me and another comedian buddy. We were running a monthly show, the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot show over at the Irvine Improv and the Brea Improv, and then Irvine remodeled, so now it's like a 700-seater. So now they're like, you guys can fuck off. You guys can't fill that. So just go over to Brea, and Brea is a 380, 400-seater.
Wait,
like,
Irvine's a 700 one?
Now it is, yeah. They remodeled it. It's huge.
It is huge.
I've done it a couple times with some other dudes who can fill some seats, but and it's a cool venue, but I just don't see... It's just hard when you're an Orange County comic and you don't have... I don't put a lot of work into promoting my comedy. Here's the thing. You have to network. You have to be a good networker. You have to be a good promoter. And you have to be funny. So if you have all three of those, you can do really well, right? But, you know, I hate calling bookers for spots. I hate... And I don't want to do that. I'm not that guy. But you can't get stage time unless you like reach out and say, hey, let me get a spot or something. But when I was running a monthly show, I would give people spots and they would give me spots, and that's kind of like a networking thing that you do. But lately I just don't give a shit that much to be like, hey man, can I get a spot? And they're like, yeah, come on down. You can do 7 minutes. It doesn't pay anything or da-da-da. And you're like, okay. So many times I've driven all the way to LA to do 7 minutes. The set like kind of went okay. And I ended up getting a taco or something there, and I ended up paying, you know, $10 for a taco, and I did 7 minutes, and then, you know, whatever. And so it gets tiresome, you know. And even when you're doing a show at the, you know, Brea or Improv or whatever it is, they pay you accordingly to how many people you get, pretty much. So, I mean.
So if you're bringing in 3 people, you ain't getting paid shit.
Exactly.
You bring in 300 people, and you might get paid a little bit.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, last show that I had there, it was during the summer. It was right when school got out, so everybody was on vacation, and we only got 130 people in there. And since then, they've kind of shied away from giving me a date because of that. They're like, oh, you only got this many people, and blah, blah, blah.
That's so fucked.
But at the same time, if I email them, and I keep going, hey, man, da-da-da-da, this is my past. I've been running a show here for 5 years or whatever, and they'll be like, okay, we'll give you another shot. But like I said, I'm in school Monday, Wednesday. I'm working Tuesday, Thursday at a fucking rehab. And Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm at a restaurant. I'm a dad. You know, I have sponsees I'm dealing with.
You're doing podcasts.
I'm doing podcasts. I'm too busy to do it anyways. So right now, in my opinion, the universe is telling me to just fucking chill out and just do what's in front of you.
I love you, man.
Try not to like...
You're perfect.
Do what
This is awesome. I'm very stoked you came. I'm very stoked that you have spent a little bit of time to actually come down here. Like you said, you're so slam, man, and it's like having somebody, and I'm going to say this, of your stature, okay?
I don't know about that.
Well, I'm going to say it from my point of view on my show, okay? Because you're
nice in
the public view. You've been, again, it's not so much the TV and the shit. It's not, oh, he's famous because people know him. It's the fact that you do this craft. You do this. You know, some people that I've had on, like Frank Koss, the chef I was talking about, you know, he performs, but his craft is like, you know, the people taste the food. They don't really interact with Frank.
I love
you
those.
know?
I love those shows, by the way, too. Since I got sober, I'm fat as fuck.
Oh, the fucking cooking shows?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, this fucking guy, Frank, dude, he cooks up some shit. He used to work at Roy's over there in Fashion Island.
Oh, dude,
and he used to just...
I want to get some of whatever he's got. Dude, I'm like 225 pounds.
Jesus Christ.
I've been like 160 pounds my whole life, and then I got sober, and I'm like, I'm just going to
Eat food.
fucking eat all day. Yeah, I need to work out. But I was going to say, that's one of my favorite shows, the Food Network. Oh, my God. I turn into a cook all of a sudden. I'm like, I'm going to go just start.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
I don't know. Steaks and, you know.
Okay,
like,
so how do you prepare your steak? I'm cracking in some some secret shit here.
This is hilarious.
This is secret shit.
I don't know. I put some stupid shit on it to make it look like I'll throw some, like, first I'll like stab it with a fork and I'll melt some butter, pour some butter on it, pre-cooking it, and then, like, this is weird, but I'll put some, like, a little bit of Italian dressing on it or Caesar dressing, just because, like, just whatever.
Okay.
And, you know, then you pepper it up, give it a good rub or whatever. I just pretend like I know what I'm doing.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh, it's fucking great. My son's now eating steaks, which is weird. Now
He likes your food.
Yeah, now all he wants to do is eat my steak. I took him to Black Angus to eat steaks. He's like, this isn't that good, Dad. It's not like yours. And
You
I'm
might
like,
be something like I cook steak a certain way, all right? I'm not gonna say. Well, I'll say how it is. All I do is rub it with some salt, and put some pepper on there, and then after I put coconut oil. That's it.
coconut.
Slathered in coconut oil, and that's how I cook it. But I'm gonna try your way because that sounds good.
Try it out. I mean, that's just one of my things. I mean, that and crime shows.
Oh, okay, like 48 something.
Yeah, like whatever, like Discovery ID or.
Do you watch comedy at all?
Yeah, I do.
And this is the reason there's I'm gonna get somewhere with that.
Yeah, I do. I do watch it. My son likes to put on like Dimitri Martin because he's funny and he's clean, and so my son loves it. And I get jealous of some of the jokes he says because they're so like right there, and you're like, how did I not think of that? You know, those kind of jokes.
So
I watch some.
do you find yourself? Obviously, people rip off other people, right? Do you ever find yourself going, oh, fuck, I hope I didn't fucking steal anybody's joke. I think I might have heard that somewhere or something like that.
Yeah, what I've heard and what I've talked to other comedians about is, like, we all have the same kind of thinking process, sort of, so we're all, like, eventually jokes are going to be, like, kind of overlapped.
Fucking A.
And so it's just how worth it is it if somebody else has a joke. Okay, put it this way. Okay, if something has... I did a joke for like forever. I've done this stupid joke about the dog park and, you know, putting your finger, you know, whatever, in the dog's ass or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the movie Ted came out, and they said that in that movie. Dude, I'm not gonna fucking compete with Seth.
That joke has been going around for fucking 15 years.
I guess it's just the way that it's like said or whatever.
Maybe, yeah. Oh,
Seth MacFarlane.
I heard the way you said it. You said it different than what I've ever
Yeah, I
heard.
mean, in that movie, Seth MacFarlane has Mark Wahlberg saying it in the thing, and it just floored me, and I went, great. There's no way I could prove that I've been doing that joke for X amount of time, or even go up against somebody like that. And then, but at the same time, you just go, whatever, fuck it, write more jokes, you know, whatever.
Just you let it kind of go off your shoulder.
Yeah, but I don't watch comedy that much. I'll tell you that. I don't. I mean,
It's probably a good thing.
I don't.
It doesn't fancy you.
I just get irritated with a lot of people that have Netflix specials that shouldn't, I guess. But then again, that's rude for me to say, or maybe I'm just envious or jealous or whatever. But there is a situation where you see a lot of people and you're like, I don't think they're that funny, but whatever. Congratulations, they did what they did to get there. So why am I knocking it? I'm just saying that everybody has a different style.
Can I ask? Okay. A yes or no question, and then we'll go from there. Would you listen to the follow? Do you think that the following comics are good? Good to great. Bill Burr.
Great. Unbelievable. That guy's so fucking funny.
Yeah, he is. Joe Rogan.
He's really funny. He's smart. He's very intellectual. I think he's so smart that his stuff goes over people's heads.
Phyllis Diller. She's passed away, but
Yeah, I mean, classically funny.
Okay.
But I don't like roll laughing like I do with like Bill Burr.
okay, that's what I wanted to know. Kevin Hart.
I get it. He's funny, you know. He's just a funny guy, but good for him, you know. I mean,
I get it.
he has this thing. I don't know. He's funny. He's funny.
He's funny.
Yeah,
he's not one of my favorite comics by any means, but
he's funny. But
He's
like
got a
he
good-
has like this like thing that he like repeats over and over again, and he's lucky because he has such a good following that
it's the hit.
what he does, just his like wording and stuff, and how he's funny.
Okay.
He's funny, but he's not my favorite.
Last one, Gallagher.
I used to love Gallagher when
So
I was
did
a
I.
kid. I met him at the Comedy Store. I got a picture.
No shit, really?
Yeah, but I don't know if it was him or his twin.
He's a twin, huh?
Yeah, and I think his twin stole his act or something.
Really?
Yeah, there's some history there, and he got sued over it by his. Oh, dude, I don't know.
Whoa.
So whatever.
He was one of my favorite comics growing up.
Yeah, my dad turned me on to him. It was pretty funny. Yeah, he's cool. I like them.
Those were just off the cuff. I didn't have them in any planned order. I have a ton of other comics that I love, like Richard Pryor and stuff like that. I just wanted to ask you about those guys. Kevin Hart only because he's such a phenomenon as far as what he's doing numbers-wise and the venues he does. I don't know. I mean, if I were to go watch comedy, I don't know I could watch him in a stadium like that. Like, to me, it's just not...
Yeah.
Nothing against it. It's just my personal preference that I'd rather not go see a show like that. I'd rather go see a major hardcore rock band show like that, like the Grateful Dead or like that. And in comedy, I'd like to go to somewhere like a Micro Comedy Bits.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Or the Improv or Comedy Store or any of these.
You know, some comedians that are so funny are just not really well known. You know?
I know, that's the problem.
And
I was talking about high-end ones, and there's probably 5 of your favorite ones that nobody knows of.
yeah, but people know of them. But you mentioned just Bill Burr. Bill Burr really fucking kills it, and it's just his whole persona. It's how he just constantly rants in the most funny way, and like it's hilarious. I think he's funny.
Yeah, he's perfect.
He's really good. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't watch comedy. You know,
Yeah,
I don't.
exactly.
I mean, very
Now,
rarely, if I do, I watch it by myself. And
Do you ever watch the guys that are there that you're performing with, or do you kind of get into your zone?
That's rude to say I don't, but I don't.
That's fine.
I mean, I do sometimes, depending if I've never seen them before, or like I've heard this about them, and then I watch them, or whatever. It's
interesting,
situational.
but I think it's awesome because it's just, I think it's a good perspective to see. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't understand how comedy is evolved. I know it's personal for each individual who creates it. It's its own thing.
Well, I do best at AA conventions and stuff like that, like, recovery type places.
Because they relate.
They totally relate. A lot of people think you got to be drunk to get a good laugh about something, but people that have been in recovery for a long time, they get what I'm talking about. They get the ridiculousness, and so that's what I mean. I just recently got back from Redding, California, which, by the way, is far as fuck when you're driving there. And that was a cool convention. Like, do like 45 minutes in front of that crowd. It's awesome,
How big of a crowd?
It was like 400 or 500 people.
Holy shit.
It was a good... That's why conventions are cool, too, because people, gather.
And they'll probably give you some good attention.
Yeah, totally. They're very respectful.
Because it's different.
It's all about relating with what you're talking about. When you're on stage, you just want to connect with people with whatever you're talking about. You want them to be like, yeah, I know what he's talking about, and then they like you and as a person, and then they want to listen more to what you're saying, and that's what it's all about. So in recovery, right off the bat, you're just like, my name's Patrick, I'm an alcoholic. They're like, yeah, me too. And then like you go into jokes about meetings and stuff that they...
No dick jokes.
No, not really.
It's good. Keep it clean.
Sort of, but I don't know. The last show I did was at the Phoenix House, and I don't know if you know what the Phoenix House is, but it's literally a prison outside of the prison. All a bunch of like gangbangers and like inmates that are in the middle of court, or they just got out of prison and they're in this program, court ordered, It's
kind of like a halfway house?
Yeah, it's a halfway house for sure, and it's gnarly. Okay, these guys are all fucking every one of them would kill me for sure. And they're like, what's this Weddle doing in here, you know? And so I went to go do comedy in there. And this is a really weird situation because I did get them laughing, but you have to think about it for a minute. I'm doing jokes about being a dad, about having my kid and how funny kids are and how fun it, and this whole, as I'm telling these jokes, I'm looking around going, oh my God, all these people in this room have lost their kids to whatever, and so they're not going to relate with this shit. What am I talking about, you know? So then you have to like change gears real quick, and then you go into the prostitute joke, or, you know, or you do anal sex jokes and they love that, or jail jokes, or whatever it is, you know, drug jokes, and they like that. But you just have to be on your toes at all times. I'll give you one more example real quick. I did the Yorba Chamber of Commerce 3 years in a row.
Wow.
In the third year, it was way more conservative than the other couple of years, right? So I'm talking like I'm doing jokes about my kid, and then everybody's looking around like, ugh, kids are disgusting, you know, like, whoa, wait, what's going on? They're like, we have nannies for this or something, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, they don't relate. Okay, well, then I'll do jokes about DUIs, and then I'm doing jokes about DUIs, and they're looking around like, who's this fucking criminal on stage? We don't want this guy up here. And then I'm like, okay, that's not hitting. So finally, I'm looking around this room. It's a very conservative room, and I was just like, saw a table with like 4 Persians or something. I'm like, oh, look at this. We have like a Trump no-fly list at this table.
Oh my gosh.
And then they all laughed. And then I was like, oh my God, all they're going to laugh at is racist shit. You know, so then I screwed this whole thing up, and they laughed at that. And I went, do you guys realize all you're doing is laughing at racist stuff? Everything else I was talking about was blah, blah, blah. And then they kind of went, yeah, what are you talking about? No. And then they hated me from that point, you know. So then,
that's
like,
rad. You called them out.
I shouldn't have. That was the worst move ever.
I know, but
for the performance. But
for me, it's you're my hero.
it was just a really tough. I'd never. Oh my God. So then I just bombed the rest of the night because they're like, screw that kid, you know. And then I just said, all right, well, you guys have been here, so I'll see you later. And then like put the mic up, walked out the backstage, and tried to walk out the back door just to leave. They were paying me like, I don't know, whatever, like $300 or something. And I just walked out, and I texted the lady. Well, first I walked out the fire exit, and the fire alarm went off, and I didn't know. I didn't do it on purpose.
Fuck.
But then it was like right in the middle of the next comedian's set, and it was just such a nightmare. I was just like, oh my God. I got in my car, I texted the lady. Can you just donate that money to like homeless or something? Because I don't feel like I earned it. And she's like, oh, sure, we'll donate it to this cause or whatever. And I got a receipt for it, and it was like $300. I thought I was getting paid $100, and it was like $300. And I'm like, damn, I didn't really want to.
I didn't really want to donate it. I just was being lazy and didn't want to go back and demand my cash.
I didn't want to, you know, whatever. I just saved face and left.
No,
so,
you know what? Be honest. That's a good thing, bro. It really went there. I thought they were going to rip you off for a second in the story.
No, I just. Oh, the point of what I'm saying is you got to relate to the people in front of you, no matter what it is. If it's a prison crowd, if it's a like highly right wing. Conservative crowd, if it's a left crowd, it doesn't matter. It's just you have to be able to relate on the spot of what you're dealing with, you know, and that's what comedy is to me, you know, really.
It is, because for me, I'm even looking up to you. I'm looking at you in a whole different manner now. It's because I didn't know you at that level. I see you on stage. I've known you from the past, but this part, I see, you know, whatever you've, you know, shared with online or whatever and stuff like that.
Just a guy, man.
I know. For sure.
Just a guy that watches Food Network and crime shows.
We're all just guys and girls. We're all just on this crazy planet sharing it. We're all the same.
Do you watch crime shows?
No, I don't have time to do shit, but watch podcasts and
murder mysteries. You don't watch any of that shit?
No, I listen to some podcasts about that kind of stuff, but I'm mostly a podcast fiend.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, because I find the content really good.
Yeah, there's a good
I'm a YouTube kid.
That Sword and Scales, the one that they you should look that one up. That's really
Sword and Scales.
Yeah, it's really
it's like Dungeons and Dragons or something.
It's it's a crime. It's funny. I've watched so many crime shows, like whatever, First 48 or 48
on cable TV,
or Dateline or 2020, and about, you know, crazy murders that happen, and this kid did this and killed that person, or Snapped. Snapped's one of my favorite shows. I mean, Top Snap, dude.
Okay, Snapped.
Snapped, where the wife kills the husband, right? Or the wife kills the boyfriend or whatever it is, but the wife snaps. And
people do this all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Jesus Christ.
And it's so funny that I was going to make a joke out of it, that every time whoever died, let's say the girl died, and every time like the friends are being interviewed, like they always say the same thing, like, Oh, she was full of so much life. She was just full of life. And I'm like, yeah, well, she was alive then. So she probably.
She was alive when she.
That's what everybody says. She was so full of life. And like, well, yeah, she was alive then. So.
Kind of dead now.
That's part of my favorite thing to do is just watch those shows because they're depressing and like intriguing at the same time.
Yeah, it's fucking breaking down on associate.
Everybody murders. Every murder is always figured out because of life insurance. It's always life insurance.
For
man.
real?
Yeah, it's always life insurance.
So it's always money driven.
Yeah, it's always money driven of some sort.
People.
Finance or romance that always kills people. Like either cheating, and then the wife goes, "How much is he worth dead?" Like,
this is kind of a good thing for you because you're probably, this kind of almost goes along with what you're doing because you're dealing with people who have drug problems. Obviously, in the past, people with drug problems come up with issues with suicide and or murder, and or both murder suicides.
I don't know. I haven't dealt with anybody murdered yet.
No, but I'm just saying it kind of.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's a lot of suicide stuff, but that's the whole point. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to help save lives,
and help people,
and get people in a better mindset than what they're doing. That's why comedy isn't making people laugh is really important, but at the same time, I don't like the game involved with it, the whole promoting game and this and that and this and that. Yeah. When the reality is helping people in life is probably more rewarding, like the whole recovery world of helping another alcoholic or helping another addict kind of like overcome or get them into rehab or like lead them in a good path is more rewarding than
an applause.
I mean, that's pretty addictive, but no, but it's rewarding to help people that you just want to see people be the best person they can be, and it just sucks because I have like this superpower to see potential in people, and the only thing holding them back is just this or that or this. I only drink 6 Coors Lights a day. How much potential you could have if you didn't do that. But I'm not there to tell people what they should and shouldn't do. I'm there to answer questions if they say, I got an issue and I need help. Then I'm there. But it's just spinning your wheels if you're trying to go and tell somebody like, hey, you should do this or you should do that.
Oh, they shut you down
right away.
No one wants to be told that shit.
Yeah, but I'm there for people if they need it, I don't even have to know them. And they, call me and be like, hey, I heard you help people, so and so. And then you're like, all right, I guess I got to help you. It's how it really is. You're like, ugh. I will not turn down helping somebody when it comes to recovery. And that's, I think, why I'm in this industry right now, is because you can't turn down a request like that. It's just not in my nature, Unless I find out that they're just trying to use me for a ride to go get fucking dope, and they're like, no, I want to get sober, but like, I don't have a ride to 17th Street in Santa Ana, and I don't know, I'm like, listen, man, whatever. It is what it is. You just kind of eventually, you deal with liars a lot, and that's because I have been a liar for a long time, so.
So what
you're looking at yourself at all the time, but yourself a few years ago that was, whatever.
And you're able to spot those things immediately, huh?
Yeah, but you don't call them out on it.
No. I mean, because you're very tactful. Obviously, you're a person who
you just
had to drink a bunch of coffee before they were about to get up early in the morning. And I found our plane, our virtual plane, has kind of been rounding about, and we've spotted the airport. And landing gear is going to be kind of coming down soon. And gonna get ready for a touchdown here. It's been a pretty amazing time to have Mr. Fowler come in and give me an introspective on a lot, man. Thank you very much. It's not. It was
fun.
Yeah, it's cool. It's just a different. Like I said, it's a different introspective. You put the camera on. You put the speakers on, the mics. You put the headphones on, and you start talking about this. And we got into some deep stuff. And it was just, I don't know. It's precious. The reason why I do this was from my nephew. I told you that passed away, and ever since then, it's like a way to document not just myself, but the people I have on. And you never know how precious that could be for not just you as a memory, but somebody, a loved one who might never got to see you talk about this. I got one of my mom, and it was like cool to record, and just friends, and just
absolutely
people. One of my friends who moved back to Hawaii. I sometimes, every once in a while, I'll put on one of those podcasts and fucking laugh my ass off because him and I had this interaction. It would just make me crack the fuck up.
Yeah,
it was always banter. and I miss that motherfucker. It's not that I can't talk to him, but those times, those podcasts are precious.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I like it. I like what you got going on.
I hope you can come back.
I like the space, of course.
Fucking A. I know you're busy, so whenever...
No, dude, I'm happy to come back and hang out anytime. That's why this was so crazy, the directions we go in, because we haven't like caught up in a long time. So, and not only that, I mean, you just get into some weird topics, you know, like when you're just chatting with somebody you haven't talked with in a long time, and we get into some weird directions. But, you know, I'm glad we did.
Yeah, it makes for a good podcast. And we've been constantly looking at the camera because we don't know if it's turning off. And you caught it once already. That was awesome. All right, you guys, Top Snap Podcast. This is your host, Jason Medina. We have Mr. Patrick Fowler, professional person helper.
Yeah, that's accurate.
There you go. All right, guys, tune in. Anywhere they can tune into your website or whatever. Anything you have to
yeah, I don't know. Just you follow me on Fowler Comedy. At Fowler Comedy, Instagram, at Fowler Comedy, Twitter, whatever it is, and I don't really use Twitter, but FowlerComedy.com website.
There you go. And we're looking for you to be back touring and doing your awesomeness somewhere time in the wintertime?
I have a couple private parties that I'm doing in November, and for the most part, I think when school's over in December, I'm gonna hop back on the comedy horse just to get that fix again. But yeah, who knows? Who knows, man? I have some control of the future, but right now,
yeah, you've got your plan. You've got the Pat's plan.
Yeah, just riding it out, just making sure I'm taking care of the bills.
That's me too, my friend, and we will see you guys on next time. Check me out later on this week. We're going to have the wrap up with Mr. Brandon Ray. That's the California Kid 83. He's got a ton to talk about on his party of the Mayweather and McGregor the Mayweather and McGregor fight. So he'll come back and do a Fist of Facts podcast with me later on this week. And then we also have a wrap up with Mrs. Lalava 333. She's introducing all her new things, including some of her therapy she has and her hypnosis that she practices. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Talk to you later.
I want some soap.
I want some soap too.
Give me that soap.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Super fun.